So what has been your favorite part of this business?
I would say, and I think most realtors probably would say this, getting to the closing table. There's a lot of work that goes into each transaction, managing the transaction, managing the person, but getting to that point where you're able to hand the keys to the buyer or get the keys from the seller and get that to the buyer. That's a great feeling. And that's what we work for, is making our sellers and buyers get to that point where their dream of selling and buying is accomplished. And so we just get a chance to be a part of that story. And so by far that's the greatest part of real estate for me.
Yeah, it's fun. So what has been your biggest challenge?
You have to be a counselor.
Well, you're pretty good at that.
Yeah, I counsel people, marriages and things like that. And being a realtor, you have to be able to manage personalities, manage the emotions of a buyer or a seller. I don't know how many times I've had a buyer or a seller on the phone crying, because something
It's stressful.
happened. Yeah, very stressful. This is a huge, maybe the biggest transaction that somebody's going to make. And so managing the emotions, making sure I stay as calm as I possibly can while, helping individuals, that definitely can be a challenge. But, it's a part of it, and it makes the closing day even better.
Right.
And that's why one thing I've learned for you is you talked about how when we write our post about closings, make sure it's not about us as realtors, but it's actually about the buyer or the seller, because they're the ones who, are the hero of the story in a sense.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's all about them.
yeah.
So, when you are out and about and you're talking about real estate, do you think people understand what your job is really like? Like, do you think the actual public who never has done a all commission job before really understands what we do?
Clueless.
Yeah.
I don't think the average person, and it's funny because I say that about pastoring and preaching as well. I don't think people realize the work that goes into meeting a buyer or a seller, getting them to trust you, and walking them through the transaction. It's just, most people don't understand. They see the closing, and the story in between that, and I don't expect people outside of the business to understand it.
Right.
I don't, because it's a huge expectation and it's a lot that goes into it. And that's why I respect other realtors as well, because it's a lot that goes into what we do.
Yeah. So you always say teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah.
When you joined the team, how do you feel that being on our team at Dee Martin Realty Group has been helpful?
It's been very helpful. I was as green as a realtor can be.
Everybody is.
And I passed that test, and the test gives you information on just, laws and terminology, basically informational things. But coming into real estate, there's a lot that I didn't know, and to be able to call you and to call Jonathan and ask questions that you guys know at the drop of a dime, that was very helpful for me, because it allowed me to be presented as someone who had the information, and actually I only had it through the access of my team. We have the social media person, like we have so many different things that
A lot of support.
we have a lot of support, a lot of systems. And so I get an opportunity to actually be an extension of the Dee Martin Realty Group. Like, I represent Dee and Jonathan, and that helps me in my business, because now I'm not out here winging it on my own. And I get a chance. I remember one of the things I used to always tell clients is, you can go and look at our reviews. And there was a time where I had none, like where,
You have a lot now.
I'm basing it strictly off of the team that's behind me. It's almost like a little kid saying, yeah, my mom and dad's gonna take care of that. Just talk to them. And so now I've learned a lot, and I can manage transactions. But at the beginning, it was not like that, and I'm grateful to be able to be on a team, and that's why I always say teamwork does make the dream work. Because, I mean, I've taken 2 trips this year, and I remember there was one transaction that was going on while I was in Kentucky, and we were able to still help our client while I was 14 hours away,
Spending time with your family.
spending time with my family. And so that's impossible if I'm doing it by myself.
Right.
And I love that.
Yeah, and we love you being on the team.
Yeah.
So, speaking of your family, I
Yep.
know you're like all about your wife and kiddos,
Yep.
and you have a church that you're leading as
Yep.
well. But how have you figured out the kind of work-life balance that people talk about? I mean, it's pretty tough, but
Yeah.
what have you discovered in this? How to do that?
Yeah. I think it's just making sure that I keep the things that I prioritize as a priority. And so, we do family night on Thursday nights. And I keep that. I've never had to tell someone, hey, I can't show because of our family night, because those things happen more in the evening time after, main hours. But I think my family understands that this is a part of the business. And, a lot of times my daughter, if it's in the evening time, she goes with me. She loves to go to showings. But I've been able to just balance it just because I plan. And nothing comes as a surprise in a sense. And so I plan my day out. I get up very early in the morning. And so I think the planning behind it, I think it helps. And yeah, that's how I've been able to balance it. But it's a lot. I mean, it's, juggling all three of them. It's a lot, but it's worth it. And I'm, I got enough energy to keep going.
Yeah,
and
you do.
Yeah. So I like it. I like being able to juggle those, and because a lot of them they actually overlap. So
Awesome. So 2024 is coming, and we've had a pretty good year this year. Next year, we have some pretty high goals, and I know you have some really high personal goals.
yeah.
So what are you most excited about for 2024?
Yeah, so I'm excited just to be able to set that goal out there and try to achieve it. But I think the more I achieve my goal, the more I'm actually helping people achieve their goal.
Exactly.
And I think that's the very important part. 2023, I remember we sat down at the end of 2022, we set our goals, and I was clueless. I think I set 15 to do 15 transactions, and was able to meet that. And now I'm setting an even higher goal, and so that's why I want to get in front of more people, because I know that there are tons of people out there that want to buy, that want to sell, and so
I need your help.
Yeah, and they need my help. And so I tell for sale by owners a lot. When you need to have surgery, you don't just go in your backyard and have surgery. You call an expert in. And so now I can boldly say that I'm an expert, not because of my knowledge, but because the team that stands behind me, and I can help people get to the goal that
And
they're
the
trying to get to.
experience that
Yeah,
you've had this
yeah,
year. It's been
definitely,
awesome.
definitely.
Well, that's great. Okay, so just so you know, if you are looking to buy or sell, Kilton is a great agent that will work super hard for you, and we are really thrilled to have him on the team. And so if we can help y'all in any way, give him a call.